Why won't it stop raining? Why won't it stop raining? Fuck! Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Charl. Do you remember that movie from like I think it was the late 90s? It was called Seven, and it starred Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow, and it just rained all the time. Well, it kind of feels like I'm a character in that movie because it's been raining nonstop for a while. But even though, I find it a bit dreary, um, still grateful for it because there are obviously communities and industries that depend on rainfall. And not too long ago, South Africa suffered a bit of a drought and then a water shortage, and it placed the country in a pretty bad position. So I am grateful for it. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about self worth. Obviously, self worth isn't something one can really, quantify. You can't, for instance, say, "Yeah, I have about 67% self worth." Um, the other 33%, I violently hate myself. Yeah, difficult to do that. It's a it's an abstract thing, but I think the majority of us can at least say, yeah, like my self-worth is quite positive, or it's in a deficit position. um from my own experience, I think drugs or addiction, let me put it that way, addiction certainly erodes self-worth, and then substances sort of come and they fill that void, I suppose, in a very artificial and ultimately destructive manner. And yeah, today actually I'm celebrating 6 months clean and sober, to the day 12th of July. So there's another thing I'm very grateful for. How has that changed my perception towards myself? Well, dramatically and profoundly and noticeably. Um, I feel like I'm in a place where I can say, hey, I don't deserve to be treated poorly. I don't deserve to be abused. I don't deserve to be taken advantage of. And I think if you'd spoken to me, 6 months ago, I would have just said, no, well, I'm a piece of shit, and I deserve to be treated like a piece of shit. Um, that has changed as I progress on this journey of sobriety, and I I am now starting to see my own self-worth. Um I still have, obviously, I have a fucking long way to go before I can truly say, hey, I love myself completely the way I am. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I can say I'm faultless or I'm flawless or I'm perfect. I don't think any of us can ever say that because we are humans and we are imperfect. That's just the reality of being a human. So um, yeah. However, there there is a place where one can at least accept one's, I suppose, shortcomings, um, and still, you know, love yourself and still be proud of yourself and still believe in your own worth and in your own value in society. And that's a place that I'm slowly getting to, and that I didn't think I ever would. I spent the vast majority of my life just hating myself and thinking that I'm worthless. Um, for a number of reasons. I think, again, without doing any armchair psychology or, psychoanalysis, and going very Freudian in this video. I can trace it back to certain, um, I suppose, events, situations in my childhood that might have ultimately, eroded my self-worth, and made me feel like I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy of being loved. And that sort of thinking, for me, I think, has run a lot of relationships, and I'm talking specifically now about romantic relationships. To run a lot of romantic relationships that I've had in the past into the ground, because I feel so unworthy of being loved, and to the point where I can't believe that I can be loved, that I actively engineer the downfall of the relationship, because I just feel, well, this person is eventually going to realize that I'm just a worthless piece of garbage and they're going to leave anyway, so I might as well self sabotage, right? Stop me if it sounds familiar. I think it is. I don't want to say a common pattern, but it's something I think some people can relate to. Not everybody, obviously. But yeah, and I certainly don't want to come from a position of blaming my shortcomings, my failure in romantic relationships, just on on my past, on my childhood, on trauma. I don't want to do that. I do want to take accountability, and I do. I Like I said earlier, I'm certainly not fucking perfect, and I never will be. But it is amazing to just come to a place where I can say, hey, I don't deserve to be treated in an unfair or cruel or manipulative or degrading fashion. I do not deserve it. I am worthy of being treated like, a human being. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. It's still raining. I'm okay with it. It's a Sunday afternoon. Yeah, I hope everyone had a good weekend. And please know that you are fucking worthy. You are worthy. Bye.